Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Tribal Peace, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the topic of transformational leadership and team culture within sports organizations. Every great team has a heartbeat. That's something one of my coaches used to say a lot. When I played Division One softball, the teams that thrived weren't always the ones with the strongest arms or the biggest hitters. They were the ones with a culture so strong you could feel it in the moment you walked into the locker room. The culture wasn't an accident. It was built intentionally by transformational leadership. Today, I want to explore how transformational leadership doesn't just impact performance. It changes people, it changes relationships, and it creates teams that can weather adversity together. And we have research that proves it. So, what is transformational leadership? Transformational leadership to me is more than motivating players or keeping athletes accountable. It's a leadership style built around four core behaviors, which I have listed here on the screen. The first one being idealized influenced, modeling, which to me means modeling the standard, inspirational motivation, which means creating belief, intellectual stimulation, which challenges the athletes to think, and lastly, individualized consideration. This is coaching the person, not just the player. To me, I think in the last one there, individualized consideration is most important. If you don't understand how the player is as a person, you will never be able to understand the person as a player. In sports, especially at elite levels, this leadership style becomes the engine that drives the team culture. Research study number one. Mock and colleagues studied professional sports teams and made a powerful discovery. They discovered that transformational leadership improves team performance because it strengthens team cohesion. Basically, this means that performance doesn't improve magically by itself, which, if you've played a sport, you kind of know that a little bit. It improves because athletes trust each other, communicate more effectively with one another, and they feel psychologically safe within the environment they are in. Their model shows, as I have displayed here on the screen, that transformational leadership leads to cohesion, and cohesion leads to performance. This tells us something very important. It's telling us that you can't skip team culture and expect success. If the team does not get along as one and have that culture, there is no way for them to be successful. Research study number two. The second study that I focused on is by Arthur and colleagues, which looked at elite level teams and found something even more compelling. They discovered that transformational leadership enhances the coach to athlete relationship and increases team resilience. Resilience is the ability to handle adversity for those of you who don't know. So anything like losses, injuries, pressures, unexpected challenges, all of those things fall under resilience, in my opinion. The research shows that when athletes know their coach truly sees them for them, cares for them, and listens to them when they speak with them, they bounce back faster and even stronger in game-like situations. This is especially important in environments like Division One softball. I can attest to that, where athletes face constant pressure to perform, maintain their academics, and manage their identity development all at once. Transformational leadership helps them stay grounded, connected, and confident. Why it matters. So I have on here my two little icons, the guy lifting weights and a little film thing. So, why does transformational leadership, or what does transformational leadership actually look like in a practice setting? Well, to me, being around it between playing Division One softball and now helping assist in coaching as well, to me, it looks like a coach who will meet with their players one-on-one regularly. I feel this is a very important aspect of transformational leadership because if you're not able to learn, like how I mentioned before, the athlete as a person, I feel it's very hard to be able to coach them. A coach who creates collaborative decision-making opportunities. You allow the athlete to feel you are working as a team, not I'm up here and you're down here as the athlete. Someone who encourages athlete leadership within the team. That's another big one. You need to have leadership within the team. In my opinion, I don't think any teams are very successful when it's just, well, the head coach is in charge and the team has no say. Builds rituals that reinforce culture, which we talked about a little bit earlier. And lastly, models the behavior they expect from others. I know myself personally going through when you have coaches that say one thing but yet do another, it's really hard for you to respect them and want to follow what they tell you. So basically, in other words, transformational leaders create environments where people feel valued and empowered. And in sports, when the culture is strong, performance will follow. A story example. So, as I've mentioned, I had played Division One softball. So, one of the clearest moments where I felt the impact of transformational leadership happened within my Division One softball career. It was late in the season, my junior year, high pressure, high expectations, you know how that goes. And we had just dropped a game that we were supposed to win. We were actually really supposed to win the game. The locker room felt heavy. Everyone was just kind of frustrated. Some were quiet in the moment. And, it just kind of was a weird feeling because we had built all year to reach this goal. And it suddenly felt like we were all kind of in a fragile state, I would say. But instead of giving a lecture or pointing out mistakes, our coach walked in, he sat down with us and said, this team isn't great because of what you do. It's great because of who you are. And that's something that stuck with me. He then proceeded to go around the room and he reminded each player of the strengths we had brought to the team, that we were not just athletes, but people. He then challenged us to lean on each other and communicate more and be able to trust that our identity was deeper than just this one loss that kind of we had felt at the time altered our identity. In that moment, I feel our mindset completely shifted. Like we went 0 to 100. We played the rest of the season with more connection, more resilience, more belief. We were able to make a postseason run. So to me, that was transformational leadership. My coach seeing that we were humans first and softball players second. So for me, I think that was a big moment, and it especially was a big moment for our season as well. The takeaway. So, if you remember one thing from today, I advise you to let it be this. A transformational leader does not just influence how athletes play, they influence who the athletes become. This leadership style not only builds cultures that are resilient, connected, and built for long-term success. The science backs it, stories prove it. I lived it myself. And personally, I feel the future of sports leadership depends on this kind of learning. These are my references. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening. I hope this encourages you to not just manage teams, but transform them and really get in tune with your players and who they are as people, not just players. Thank you.